In this tutorial, we're looking at selections in Photoshop. How selections help us to isolate individual objects in an image so that we can edit or work on them independently. So selection is key if you'll be doing anything in Photoshop. So some tools we're going to use for selection are the Marquee tools, the Magic Wand tool, and when you tap on it, it gives you several tools. We have the rectangular Marquee tool and the elliptical Marquee tool. Those are the main Marquee tools you'll be using. And so if I want to select the face of the lady now, maybe the oval shape, the elliptical, which is rounded, will give me that option. So I can just use that. Hold the space bar to move it around. And if I hold shift, it makes the shape very round. But when I release the shift, it gives me the chance to make it look like an egg or turn it any way I want. And then the space bar helps me to move it around. So yep, something like this. And I've selected her face. I can Control J or Command J to duplicate, and then I have just her face. The elliptical Marquee tool does that. Then the rectangular Marquee tool helps us to select rectangular shaped selections. So just like that, when you hold down the shift, it makes this shape square, which means all the sides are the same. Hold down space bar helps you to move it around while you are selecting. And then you can also duplicate. And then when I hide the background layer, just what I've selected is what I have duplicated. When I click on any of the selection tools here, for instance, this image, I want to just clear the background. And if the background is not too busy, okay, something like this, the background is quite busy, but I think this technique can help. And to me, it is the fastest way to clear the background of an image in Photoshop. So I just have to click on any of the selection tools. Then on the properties toolbar, I click on select and mask. Then I click on select subject. It has selected the subject for me, almost cleared the background. But it has some hair. You can see her hair is kind of very rough. So I click on refine hair, and it has done a decent job for me now. If I'm not so satisfied, I can go to the properties side of the selection and then click on smart radius. Increase the radius a bit and see what happens. Okay, I think this is fine. Then I can play with the global refinement, the smooth, the feather, and then contrast. Now, at the top of the properties, we also have the show high quality image. Just play around, and then the view under the properties, it helps us to refine or see the exact details of the selection. So the first one, it brings the background a bit, which is the onion matching ants overlay. The overlay gives us some red background so that it helps us see, oh, this is what it has selected on white, black and white. So it just shows just a selection against it, and then layers. It shows us, oh, this is how the selection will look in the final outcome. Normally I like using the layers, but hey, you can choose what works for you. And the shortcut for that is F. You can be pressing F and it will be toggling between the various views. And if I like the selection I've done, I just go scroll down a little bit. Output to, I can choose towards selection or towards a new layer or layer mask, a new document, anything you want to do. This point I'll choose what? To a new layer. Then click OK. And it's gone. Which means I can just bring in a new background or make the background white or gray, and that's it. I've changed the background for this selection. We also have the Magic Wand. Magic Wand. And the Magic Wand helps us to select an area just by tapping on it. So I just tapped on the background and it just selected the whole background for us. And it has got to do with the tolerance over here on the properties toolbar. So if I reduce the tolerance to maybe somewhere a very low number and tap, you see it selects just a small section. Just a small section. But when I increase the tolerance, now it understands that, hey, look close by and select as much as possible of what the person is trying to select. So when I click on it, it almost selects the entire background, and then giving it the chance to invert the selection, then we can get our image only. So the magic one does a very fantastic job, especially when you're playing with the tolerance. Next to the magic one, we have the quick selection and then the object selection tool. So quick selection does a similar job to the magic one, just that for that you click an area, and as you are drawing and you keep going, it keeps adding the selection for you. If you've done that and you want to, maybe it's selected an area and you don't want, you hold down Alt, it changes to a subtract, and then you can subtract the area out of it. And if you want to add an area, you hold down Shift, it brings in the plus, and then you can add it back. So that's got to do with the quick selection tool. Then now we have the lasso tool. We have the polygonal lasso tool and then the magnetic lasso tool. The shortcut for them is L. And these ones, they help you to do more of a freehand selection. So when I click on the lasso tool, it's as if I pick a pencil and I'm just doing my own selection around it. So it all depends on your creativity. So if you are very good with your freehand, then you can use it to select even this object. So that's what the lasso tool does. The magnetic lasso tool, if I click an area and I'm moving, it tries to pin the edges of that particular thing like a magnet. So as I'm moving around, it is selecting it by itself. So it is a lasso tool, but it behaves like a magnet. It's trying to stick the things close to itself. And it's not so fine, then I can go pick the lasso tool and then hold down Shift and then add more of the selections. So what happens when you've done a selection like this and then you've done the work and hey, you realize, oh no, I have to change something. So to avoid something like this, you can save a selection. So I've done this selection. Before I even copy it or duplicate it, go to the select menu and then click on what? Save selection. Then you name it anything you want. So I'm going to save this one, Canoe, new channel, and then click OK. So for instance, I'm filling this canoe with my paint bucket to pick a color like this. Fill it. Then you pick a brush rather, and then you paint the entire thing with this. Okay. Alright. Oh no, I need my selection back. So what do? I can just go back to select, go to load selection, then I look for my selection canoe, hit OK, and it is back. Then now I can just delete what I have here and then get access to my selection again. So you can save a selection and then load it back so that you can use it in subsequent work. To add to selection, we also have selection by color. And to do that, you go to select, then color range, and then now you pick the eyedropper and then click on the area you want to select. So as I'm clicking on the red area, it is what? Selecting just the clothes. I can go to add the plus icon, the next eyedropper tool. When I click on it and then I'm clicking, now it is selecting more of the red areas. And I can what? Click on the subtract, click on her face so that it reduces the areas for me. And when I'm done, I click OK. It selects just the colors. In case I want to select the green leaves in the background, I go to what? Select color range. Then I click on the green, add more of the green in the image. Select it. That does what? Selection by color. What if I have an image that has a sky? Like this image. I can still go back to select and I say what? Select sky. So you see, it looks for the sky in the image and selects that for us. So that's a quick way to select the skies. And then you can play around it. Even you want to change the colors or you want to replace the sky, whatever you want to do. But that's how to quickly select the skies. With this selection that we've done, one thing we can do is what? Because we've selected and isolated the image, now we can edit just that particular area. So for instance, now the canoe is, you can see it's on a new layer. I'm just targeting that particular selection and then go to adjustments layer and then pick what? Brightness and contrast. Which means when I'm increasing the brightness of the canoe, it's affecting just the selection. Just the selection. That's how important selection is, because it gives you just a particular area and then you can independently edit those areas. What happens when the image is on a very busy background? I showed you how to use the select subject to quickly pick an image on a background that's not so busy. But look at this image here. It's on a very, very, very busy background. In that case, we use the pen tool to do our selection. But it doesn't do it for you automatically. You have to know how to use it. And the shortcut for the pen tool is P, the letter P. So when I click on the pen tool, which you can find here, on the tools panel, now I'll have to do the selection myself. So first of all, I zoom in to a point I can see well, then start doing the selection myself. And feel free to do a loose selection. You can always come back and edit the pen tool. So if you can edit everything by holding down Control, you can get a chance to move the notes of the edges of the pen while you are drawing on it. Where I can just continue the selection. I did it very fast, but I think I did quite a decent job. Then I can move it onto Ctrl J, and then now it's on a new layer. The edges are not sharp, they are not the best, but at least it has done a decent job for me. I can just go further down the line and then refine. So I can feather, I can, but I mean, that's what the pen tool does. It helped me to do manual selection myself. So with the selection that I've done, I can save it again by going to select, save selection, and name it what? Lady in red. Okay. I can deselect. What if I need a selection back? I go back to what? Select, load selection. I look for the name, lady in red. Click it, and then it gives me the selection back. So if you are doing selections on small objects, okay, if the workspace has small objects, for instance, the eye of the lady here, and I want to select on it, ideally just zoom in on her, zoom in as much as possible, and it gives you more control to be able to do the selections well. If I want to use the pen tool, at least because it's bold enough, I can just pick the pen tool and then I can just draw it nicely. And it's because I've zoomed in on it, so I'm able to see it well. So to deselect, I press Ctrl D, and to reselect, Ctrl Shift D. These are the shortcuts. So I think these shortcuts are the ideal ones you will need when you're working with selections. So you see how amazing it is when you're working with the selection, with the magic wand, the lasso tools, and then the refine edge or the select subject things. So I urge you to practice on several images on your own, and then you figure out yourself that, oh, this one works, and maybe this one works better or not. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the like button. See you in the next video. Bye.